Alright, just about to start the next video. Now if you hear any strange noises in the background, these two juiced up turkeys are training legs. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. Back function. You alright, Brendan, eh? Alright, so welcome back to the channel. So today, no doubt, is the video you've been waiting for. It's the one with the program, the techniques, the exercises, the sets, reps, the actual first 4 weeks of leg day of lower body. All that's going to be gone through today. But I said before I'd start the video, I would talk a little bit about, I was watching a lot of sport over the weekend. So Katie Taylor in the boxing, the rugby, I went to the Currafin and Tune game. What I like to try and do, and what I've always done this, is look at the similarities from other sports and other sports stars. So it doesn't matter if the star is someone in American football like Ray Lewis or Tom Brady, or whether it's someone like Sonny Bill Williams who's a boxer and a rugby player, or it's someone like Ronaldo who's a soccer player, and always try and pull from them what could be added to Gaelic football to get in shape for Gaelic football, because the pursuit of getting in great shape should have far more in common with different sports than it does different. And I really think that's a big flaw that a lot of coaches make and a lot of footballers think. They think, oh, this is a special sport where we can't relate to anyone else. You can relate to absolutely every different sport. You can relate to being a bikini competitor in bodybuilding to Gaelic football if you want. A lot of the exercises cross over no matter what your pursuit is. The human body only moves in a certain few different type of ways. But alas, rugby players have to put on a lot of muscle relatively quickly over a 3-4 year period. We talked about that briefly in the last video. In Gaelic football, I think that requirement is getting higher, that people just build muscle quickly. 10 to 15 kilos in rugby, maybe it's 8 to 10 kgs for the inter-county football player or the top quality club player. So they need to build muscle quickly. Should we be looking to rugby and saying, okay, we need to put on muscle like that? No, I don't think so, because rugby players don't need to be as lean. There's far more contact. They're actually looking for contact, whether good Gaelic footballers always avoid contact with the ball anyways. And there's just generally too bulky to run up and down the pitch and cover the massive aerobic distances that Gaelic footballers cover. So we're more like soccer players, but then there's way more contact in Gaelic football than there is in soccer. You have a 16-year-old breaking onto Premiership or La Liga teams. A 16-year-old will never play inter-county football again, if it ever happened in the past. It's just too physical for someone 16 years of age. With soccer, you can go on to the highest level because of your technical ability. There could be plenty of 16-year-olds with the technical ability to play senior inter-county football, but physicality-wise, they just get blown out of the water. So we're kind of in this cross between American football, between rugby, where they have these huge size, this huge power, these huge contact hits, and something that's a little softer on the physicality like basketball or soccer, somewhere in the middle. Someone who really had a huge influence on me, really inspired me to start lifting when I started lifting weights, was Alan Feely. He was an older guy he used to work in a bar with me in town, and then he was the older guy at my GAA club. So a lot of you will be able to relate to figures like this. I know the guy in Mola as well. Just an older guy on the team in great shape. He was in phenomenal shape. And what he did was focus on getting really strong at the basics. I asked him so many questions about this so many times. He focused on getting really strong at the basic lifts. Loved deadlifting, loved squatting, loved bench pressing. I remember him, he did these enormous triceps. Relative to Gaelic football, he just stand like that in his AFL sleeveless jersey, and these just big lip of tricep at the back of his arm just looked unreal. But when you couple with that, he also kept all his pace. He put on 2 stone of muscle, was always up the top when we did any bleep test or any yo-yo test. and had these really strong lifts. And interestingly, he loved rugby sevens. He played a lot of rugby sevens outside Gaelic football. So maybe an ideal Gaelic football physique, if there is such a thing, because there's always exceptions. There's always people who don't bother doing much strength and conditioning at all and are still superb footballers. Cause he's played rugby sevens, so maybe the juncture we're looking for is rugby sevens play. Maybe that's what we're looking for. And if you look at the All-Star team picked last Friday, more sports of the weekend. If you look at the All-Star teams picked last Friday, if you look at Paddy Durkin, if you look at the rest of the All-Stars, got them to hold a ball an oval ball under their arm and start bolting in open space, they'd probably be unreal rugby sevens players. So that's just an observation, that's just what I think. If you got Paddy Durkin, Cullen Boyle, Lee Keegan, these guys to play rugby sevens, how good would they be? I'd imagine they'd be at an unbelievable level very quickly. That's just my observation. Another point about Alan before I move on is, I remember my first year playing senior, like he got absolutely nailed as hard of a hit as you can imagine by Trevor Mortimer, lifted off the ground, got straight up off the ground and could just play on. I think a lot of people remember that out in Shrew. And then a few weeks later we were playing Ballaghaderreen and he did the same to Andy Moore. Hit him as hard as you can, square belts, not frontal charge or anything. And Andy did the same thing, popped straight back up. I was 18 at the time and I'll never forget it. And I remember talking to Alan about it, and one thing he said to me was, look Kevin, you're light. If I see someone as light as you on the pitch, and he goes, most other club footballers are like this as well, we're actually going to go harder and try and hit you harder because you're light, rather than go easier on you. And I thought it was so true. And from my experience watching Gaelic football, I'd have to say that's true. If a big fella sees a small fella, normally he's going to go extra hard to hit him. Now I'm talking about legal hits now, not anything silly or over the top. But that, if you're a light guy, if you're a skinny guy and you're looking at this video and you're thinking, I want to get in better shape for next year, that should be a good motivating factor. These big guys who are in good shape, so if you meet a Lee Keegan, maybe Kieran Fitzgerald in Galway, a Johnny Cooper in Dublin, James McCarthy, if you meet these guys in a club game and you're light, they're going to try and nail you. They're going to try and nail you, they're going to try and physically walk on top of you. That's the nature of Gaelic football. So I hope that clears up. Well, it's not necessarily as clear up, Anthony. It's just my thoughts on that specific, on the weekend sport. I suppose bringing Katie Taylor into it as well. Boxers, what do they have in common with like boxing training and MMA fitting? A lot of it is fucking daft. Now I know Conor McGregor spent a long time working with John Connor in Dublin, who'd be one of the top strength and conditioning coaches in the world in the Irish Strength Institute. But boxers in general, MMA fighters are known for this old school dog tough training without much sports science into it at all. What do they have in common? All the good athletes have in common is hard work. Don't try and be too smart for hard work. No matter what your program is, no matter what exercises you're picking, you have to work brutally hard to get in good shape. Smart, obviously, and I think this is a very smart program along with the rest of the ones and the exercises I'll be giving you. Good technique, obviously. You have to work hard, it has to be tough, you have to be pushing your body to the edge if you want to make improvements, if you're not at the level you want to be at already. So with that being said, let's jump into the video. Okay, the exercises. So I'm going to talk, and while I'm talking, I'll be playing the clips over my voice, okay? So the first program, you can look at this as your prehab if you wish. It's higher reps. We're trying to get more blood into the muscle. We're trying to get you to feel the exercises more. We're trying to get you to feel the specific muscles more before we start adding weight. Now, I'm always on about get strong, increase strength. Strong, heavy weight, strength, they're all relative terms. In this whole program, there's probably only, not even in this program, in most weightlifting programs, in most gym strength training programs, how many exercises are you going to use the 20 kg plates in? Bench pressing, hex bar squats, that's about it. Maybe RDLs if you do them, but not many people do RDLs. So we're talking about with less than 60 kg on a barbell and with dumbbells, chin-up bars and dips, you can get really, really strong without using that heavy a weight. So strength, lifting heavy, pushing yourself hard, it's all relative terms. I'm not on about pumping heavy iron here, okay? Definitely not with this program. You can get strong without pumping 100, 150 kg on the bar. But in my experience, that is definitely not a problem in the GAA. We don't have guys who are going in shifting massive weight, pushing heavy steel, getting injured. I think that's an illusion that's out there, but I haven't seen many GAA players ever lifting too heavy too often. I've seen plenty get out of shape, like we covered in the last video, by bulking up, but never by lifting too heavy or building too much muscle. Let's get rid of that fear. That's silly, okay? So you'll see that with these exercises anyway. None of them are ones where you're going to be shifting massive weight. Okay, so to start with leg curl, I absolutely love leg curl, okay? It's a myth that you not using the machine, the leg curl machine, is way worse than using, say, a Swiss ball or a medicine ball. That's one school, the functional training school, the Mike Boyle, exhaust school. I don't believe that at all. The coaches I follow don't believe that. I know I'm going to get that question. A hamstring curl machine is a great machine and it's a brilliant functional training machine. Now you don't get them in many gyms, so there is substitutes you can do instead. But for this program we're doing the hamstring curl. So I want you to fully extend the leg at the bottom. Let the leg go all the way down. Take 3 seconds on the way down and pull up fast. Kick up right up till the pad touches your ass again. Full range of motion, 3 seconds down. Absolutely super exercise for the hamstrings. Remember, the hamstrings work hardest eccentrically. They're a crucial muscle in changing direction. So with that being said, you want to work them very hard eccentrically. Nordic curls, leg curls, brilliant exercises for hamstrings, nice and slow on the way down. I like starting off with the hamstring curl before the Nordic curl because you're going to get better at Nordic curls if you start off with leg curls first. But if you haven't got that, you can start with the Nordics. Second exercise, a massive favourite of mine, front foot elevated split squat. Now I'll cover both in this video when 2 feet are on the ground and when 1 foot is elevated at the front. You can do split squats so many ways, 90-90, rear foot elevated, there's so many different ways of doing a split squat. I don't think any of them are wrong per se, but I do like to use certain types at certain stages of someone's off-season training or even in-season training. Split squat is just an absolute love of mine. I've got such good results with it, such good results with my clients. Loosens up hip flexors, demands flexibility in the hips, ankles and knees, just strengthens the glutes, strengthens the quad, very good for knee health. So you push your knee right forward and down and then all the way back up again. Range of motion is crucial. This isn't an exercise where you're going to be using massive weight, so you don't need to worry about that. I have the 10 kg dumbbells in each hand in the video. Nice and slow on the way down, stand up, keep your heel on the ground in the front leg, keep your heel off the ground in your back leg. Second clip is me doing the same exercise but with both feet on the ground, a lot tougher flexibility wise. So you'll have to use less weight or even body weight just to start with, all the way forward, all the way back up. Front to back, escalator, not elevator, so escalator goes front and down forward and then back and up, as opposed to an elevator going straight up, straight down, which would be the more 1990 style split squat. Okay, so B1 and B2. Poliquin step, this is the next superset. Poliquin step up is the step up with the heel elevated, okay? Real burner on the VMO, nice and slow on the way down. Because the range of motion is so small, you go 1-2 seconds down, up. That's why the reps are that bit higher for a Poliquin step up. Super rehab exercise, used on a lot of rehab programs, really strengthens the VMO and will really help with knee stability while you're squatting, not to mention when you go back on the pitch. If you've had knee trouble before, this is the exercise for you. It's superb prehab exercise and brilliant for knee health. So nice and slow on the way down, 15 to 20 reps. Next exercise, 45-degree back extension. Now I love to do these banded because I feel when people do them banded, they squeeze their glutes more to lift themselves up. That's an observation. I've heard that before at courses from some of the coaches I've worked with, and I've seen it firsthand in the gym. if you use a band and you squeeze, pull up and squeeze at the top, you tend to contract your glutes harder, which is what we're aiming for with this back extension. So we want to flex and bend from the glutes, get them in their roundest position at the bottom, and as we come up, get them in their shortest position, really drive the hips into the pads and squeeze the glutes while holding the band, not to hyperextend the back too much. It's not the end of the world if you do feel these in your lower back. People seem to be very afraid of feeling exercise in the lower back, but we're going to try and make you feel this one in the glutes far more so than lower back, and you'll also feel it where the hamstring touches the glute at the top of the leg there. And the third superset, okay, so banded hip glute exercises. I've always been a bit of a critic of these, but I have found them in the last year to really help getting blood into the glutes. So getting blood into a muscle after you've done your primary exercises is a good idea. It speeds up recovery, it helps with mind-muscle connection. It's proven to increase strength when coupled with your primary builder, your primary strength exercise. It's just great for getting a pump in your glutes. Getting a pump in certain muscles is so underrated. It's not the be all and end all, but my God, getting a pump helps so much with recovery, mind-muscle connection, getting your glutes stronger, the list is endless. So what I want you to do is drive up, keep your chest and your head forward the whole time, try not to move your chest or your head that much, and just drop down, barely touch the ground, and squeeze the glutes at the top. Keep the knees pressed out, which will activate your glute medius a bit more, and then at the end do 10 just banded bodyweight hip thrusts, and then at the end do 10 where you abduct the knees. So that's 20 reps in total. Hip thrust first, banded hip thrust first, straight into 10 more reps of hip abduction. That's supersetted with heel elevated goblet squat, an absolute favorite of mine. So what I want you to do is hold the kettlebell up high, hold it up against your chest or slightly in front of your chest. You won't need to use much weight on this, and I don't want you to lock out at the top. Elevate your heels, toes pointing out, and drop down really low. Keep a neutral spine. Brilliant exercise for the knees again. You won't need much weight. Keep constant tension on the quads, and this will really, really burn. This should really, really test you. So like we've been saying all along, you don't need heavy weight. All you need is brilliant exercise selection, exercise execution, and this will be a really tough program that will build plenty of strength and muscle in your legs. So finally, moving on to your final 3 exercises. D1, D2, D3. Calf raises, very underrated. Tibialis raises, even more underrated, if not unheard of by an awful lot of people. And single arm farmer's walk for the abs, so a functional core exercise. I can't believe I used that term, functional core exercise. But that's essentially what it is, even though those terms are very loose. They can mean many different things, functional training and core training. So first we start off with calf raises. It's very important that there's a big stretch at the bottom, that you feel your calf stretch, hold that stretch for a second, stand up really high at the top, come up onto your big toe, not your small toe, up onto your big toe, not your small toe, hold that contraction at the really high top, then go back down to the bottom again. So a slight second pause at the top and the bottom, really slow and controlled, get really high at the top. Calves should be on fire. Most people train their calves desperately. That's why I took this second video from the second angle. This second angle shows from the side where people move their hips forward and back. Absolutely useless. In calf training, that is it's primal sin. If your hips are moving forward and back, you're not training your calves at all. If you get calves and shins, if you get calf pain, pain in your Achilles, if you get shin splints, these exercises are superb, not to mention all the studies that promote the link between ankle flexibility and ankle health with torn hamstrings, knee injuries, hip injuries and stuff like that as well. So really take it serious. I know a lot of people skip calf training, skip tibialis training, but if you do the work during your off season on your calf flexibility, on your tibialis anterior at the front, which is the antagonist, like your bicep and tricep, to your calves at the back. Superset with the calf raises is the tibialis raises. Couldn't be simpler than the video shown. Just put your legs out in front here, about a foot away from the wall, lean against the wall, keep your legs straight and lift up the toes. Get that real contraction at the top. If you're not used to these, they'll start burning very, very quickly. Very underrated exercises, short range of motion up to the top, squeeze, feel the tibialis burn, and come back down slowly. Always nice and slow and controlled. We don't do any bouncy reps in 100%. Fucking bouncy reps drive me nuts. Don't do them in any exercise. So strength is control. If you're in control of the weight, you won't do bouncy reps. If you're in control of the weight, you won't need to do any bouncy reps or silly technique. So make sure you control the weight. So important. Final exercise on the program, one arm farmer's walks. Now don't be a bitch on these. Don't be fucking lifting soft weight, 10 kg, 20 kg dumbbells. That's 35 there. I'm not the strongest guy in the world, but I can manage 35 there for 20, 30 steps. Start off with 20 kg at least, no matter how big you are. It's a tough exercise. You'll feel it all down your obliques, but testing your rotational core strength, another term that can mean many different things, but rotational core strength is very important for sports like Gaelic football. Okay, so that's it. That's your program. So to finish the video, I'd like to say a rugby sevens player, probably not a bad way of looking at your off-season program. Can you come back like a rugby sevens player? How good do you think Paddy Durkin or Conor Callahan, like we said in the last video, would be at rugby sevens if they picked it up in the morning? I'd say they'd probably be up there with the elite within a few months of training, and that's probably no exaggeration. So rugby sevens player, you want to keep all your pace, you want to build muscle, but you want to keep lean, and you want to be up the top of your yo-yo test or your bleep test or whatever way your club or your team measures fitness. And again, I'll admit plenty of people are out of shape playing Gaelic football, and they're excellent because their brain is so smart and they're natural, and because their skill level is excellent. But I'm not covering either of them, your football brain or your skill level, in this 12-week program, because it's impossible to on YouTube videos. That's for out on the pitch. So to finish up talking about the program, this is it. It's nice and simple. If you have any questions on any of the exercises, just send them on to me. I'll go through them with you. It's higher reps. It's more focused on range of motion. It's really focusing on the joints, so your ankles, really healthy ankles, knees and hips. Before we start loading anything, we should get really healthy in those three joints. And it's not actually that complicated. It's hard work, but you can increase the health of those joints no matter how bad they are in a very short period of time if you're picking the right exercises and you're executing them properly as well. So any questions, don't hesitate to send them on to me. I can't wait to help make you better, make you stronger, fitter, leaner, faster, and mentally tougher. So the next video up will be the upper body part of the plan, and I'll be going through everything. This is your November, so November, December, January is your off season. This is your November plan for the 4 weeks. Train the legs twice a week, train the upper body twice a week. Couldn't be simpler, okay? So you can train them on any day, legs twice a week, upper body twice a week. Get the most out of your off season, come back bigger, leaner, stronger. As always, thanks for watching. Don't hesitate to get in touch with any questions, and let's make you be the best that you can be. You just keep me hanging on.